Welcome back to Success and Equity on BCTV. We have a very special guest today as our music cues down. His name is Eric Carrillo, and he works in the Graphic Arts Department at Bakersfield College. But before that, he was just Eric from Salinas. And Eric, you and I were talking about how we came from communities that are, and we'll get academic here, are not short of antisocial behavior. There are people who participate in different forms of organized crime, and when you have a narrow opportunity range in a community, for instance, for you in Salinas, it was agriculture, right?
Yeah.
And then in Humboldt County, it's either logging or fishing. Well, what happens when those two industries flag is that then more illegal economies spring up and draw more people into it. And obviously in Humboldt County, that's the cannabis industry. And in Salinas, it's organized crime, it's gangs. And if you find yourself in that sort of situation, and in Bakersfield, it seems like there are a lot of opportunities, by the way. Education is always an out, and it sounds like that's what you headed for.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the end in Salinas and the beginning.
Okay, so the end in Salinas, like I was saying, I fell victim to street violence, and it was actually people that I knew. I got beat up over a girlfriend.
Wow.
And I thought, okay, this is my time to leave Salinas and go try and find a career somewhere else.
Because that was the culture that you lived in, where instead of having a conversation,
yeah,
right? And now we run in circles where while we might want to beat someone up, we would say, wow, you really hurt my feelings. I don't ever want to speak to you again.
Yeah.
But instead, violence. That was the
outcome.
Yeah.
So I decided to take my computer skills, and I thought maybe Silicon Valley, but cost of living was high.
Sure.
I do have a sister here, and she said, well, why don't you come move here? Cost of living's low, and So I came here, but I didn't find a job in the industry that I had experience in. I probably put in the first week that I was here, I probably put out about 40 resumes for computer jobs and never got one response. So that was a little discouraging. I figured, well, I'll probably have to go back to school or do something, trying to update my skill set. And I think at the time, I thought web design was something that would be helpful. So I jumped in at Bakersfield College and tried to get a certificate in web design.
Now, how was that? You say I went up to Bakersfield College and got me a certificate in web design. Now, hold on. I don't think it was that easy, dude, because I remember when I enrolled at BC, it was a lot, man. Forms, stuff to fill out. Like, I personally felt overwhelmed. So maybe you didn't. Maybe it was easier for you.
I think my training in computers and just everything that I've done in the past has prepared me for that. Being a computer person, working for the Department of Defense, forms were nothing nothing new to me. I mean,
okay.
The Department of Defense, they love forms.
Right. I've heard of that.
Well, at the time when I was working there, which was like 98 to 2000 or something. So
and unlike when you and I first matriculated at Bakersfield College, they have one-day events now where you can knock it out and leave with a class schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, you will apply for financial aid, you will talk to a financial aid advisor, you will talk to a guidance counselor, you will take entry tests, and by the end of this event, you will be enrolled in college. Now, I know that there's some of you out there who might have enrolled at BC 5 or 6 years ago, stomping your feet on the ground going, where was that when I enrolled?
Yeah.
Well, look, just be happy for the kids today. They have it easy in so many ways. Okay, I move forward. But you followed through with that, and I imagine that you had to apply for financial aid and do some other things and get yourself settled in Bakersfield.
Yeah, very much, because I came here and I had no job, and I did have a place to stay at my sister's, but that wasn't going to be a permanent thing. So I just got on a web and I just started doing the application. I just had to do it. It was something that I felt like, what other choice do I have? I mean, I have to get a career here or somewhere. I got to just start. So.
You just kept throwing your hook out there.
Yeah, I just kept doing it. And I think just the fact that, sending out 40 resumes and not getting a response was very discouraging. I mean, it pushed me even harder to go out and try and find a job. Because I knew that I had the skills and the talent and the knowledge of being able to have a career, but it's like, well, what career do I want? So I think just jumping in at Bakersfield College and I think just taking classes that I'd never even done before. That's what sparked it.
Well, and I would say this too, and I'd say this to people in Bakersfield, and first of all, let me say that I love Bakersfield. I've had 3 children in Bakersfield. My wife's career has been wonderful to hear here in Bakersfield. We love this town and have made it our home. Bakersfield's home now. But you might be feeling like Eric and I were feeling. You might be feeling like you don't want to go into petroleum or agriculture. And if you want to move or get an education so you can move, that's okay. If you don't know, though, because of the narrow range of industries we have here, narrowish, new things are coming in, like the Nestle plant and other opportunities for folks who are involved in mechanical engineering and the automation program we have at BC. Just enroll in classes, because what you're going to find, I thought the only way people made money, Eric, was if they cut down trees or cut them into pieces or drove trucks that carried the pieces out of Humboldt County, or if they hauled fish out of the ocean or cooked fish that were hauled out of the ocean. I didn't know very many jobs outside of that, But there's a whole world of employment out there.
Yeah.
I mean, different stuff. And just being on the BC campus, sometimes you'll hear the name of a class and be like, what? That's a thing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this started happening for you up there.
Well, yeah, I got into the digital arts program. And actually, okay, let me rewind. I went for the web certificate, but I realized that, like I had said before, the web industry was something that I couldn't profit from, because there were companies like GoDaddy that could give you a website for $5, $10 a month.
Oh,
so
yeah.
The competition was like, okay, I can't go out there and do that, because I know if someone's going to do that, then I would have to put my prices pretty low as well. So right. I didn't think that it would be a very profitable market at that time. Now, different story. So one of my prerequisites was a digital graphics class or something like that. So I took that, and I think that that's what really sparked it. I'm a creative person. I've played music my whole life, so I like creating things.
You played music here in Bakersfield.
Yes, I did.
So, see, you did not sell out to the man by going to college and getting a straight folks job.
I held on to that musical dream right till the very last moment. And I still play music. I still love playing music.
But you have performed live here in Bakersfield in the last 10 years.
Yes.
So there you go. It didn't have to die with getting serious about life. All right, here to rockers who grow up. Very good. Okay. So you got into that digital arts program, and it changed your life. What specifically happened that kind of turned your head and made you go, oh?
I think there was a moment where I was studying for a final or something, and I just jumped online, and I got on one of those web tangents where you go on one search engine, you type something in, and the next thing you know, you're on 5 different topics in 15 minutes. So I'm doing that, and I found some web tutorials with Photoshop, and I spent probably 12 hours on Photoshop that night. I didn't sleep. I came in the next day. I aced my final, and I was just so pumped full of this creativity that bug bit me, and that's where it started, I think.
And this is something else I would submit. I hear young artists in Bakersfield say, well, not in Bakersfield, but I've got to go to L.A. before I can make art. No, dude, you don't actually. You need to enroll at BC, take some classes. Then you need to go to adobe.com and use your new BC email address to rent the entire Adobe Creative Suite for about $20 a month. And then you'll have the same tools that most of the folks in Hollywood are using. And you can do all kinds of stuff. Adobe is amazing storytelling software. Photoshop is one part of that. But now the Adobe Creative Suite includes software that lets you make movies.
Yeah.
Add special effects to movies. There's InDesign. I mean, the
you
list
can edit
goes
music.
on. Huh?
You can edit music.
You can edit music and Audition. So pretty much your whole creative digital dreams can be made with this software and the instruction we have at BC. I think we have a professor for all of those as well. Was there ever a special person, because you moved here, to stay temporarily with your sister. So, it doesn't sound like you had a big family network here, and that can be tough.
No.
That can be tough.
Actually, I do have a lot of cousins here.
Oh, okay.
All 6 of those other girl cousins of the grandchildren and stuff, they live here.
Okay.
So, yeah, I did have them, but, my family network was a little bit limiting, I would say.
You didn't
I only hung out with my sister when I got here, so.
Gotcha. And then was there anybody at BC that took you under their wing?
Yeah, there was the person who hired me. Debbie Moberg, and she's no longer with us now, but she was an excellent boss. Just taught me the ropes and taught me to stand up for myself at Bakersfield College.
Yeah.
And I don't know. She really mentored me. She took me under her wing and just made sure I knew everything about the job that I needed to know so I can continue where I'm at right now.
And now when you say stand up for yourself at Bakersfield College, do you mean going after what you wanted?
No, I mean, like, when it comes to design, not to, I don't know, just to push my designs. If I really believed in it, she would tell me, push it. You know, if they didn't like it, sell it to them.
Eric and
Make
I
them like it.
Eric isn't just my guest today. Eric's also my coworker in the Department of Marketing and Public Relations at Bakersfield College. The Marketing and Public Relations Department at Bakersfield College serves a dynamic student body, staff, and faculty with the goal of improving your life through education. But sometimes they can be tough customers. A lot of them
Very
have
much.
PhDs and masters after their names, and they're smart and they know what they want. And Eric and I, humble artists, are at the beginning of this this chain of request, and we make things, and sometimes folks, they might know better. So sometimes we do have to kind of stand up and say, trust me on this one. If we were talking about 16th century Spanish history, I would submit to you, but please trust me, this is the right color for this font. And there are little things like that, right?
There are things like
'Cause
that.
We work with a lot of smart people.
A lot of smart people, and they all know what they want.
Oh, for
And-
doggone sure.
However, it's one of the most difficult things for a designer is they know what they want, but trying to see the vision that's in their head and putting it on paper form is a different story because they can't always get their point across to say, okay, this is how I want it. So that was hard. And again, those are things that Debbie would teach me how to navigate with and deal with certain types of jobs, and she told me that, I have to have tough skin and I can't always win every single design battle because there's times where I would push stuff out. I've always been known at Bakersfield College for being a little bit more of an edgier designer. And there's times where I've pushed my design and they said, no, it's a little controversial, and they turned it down. But, you live and learn in that aspect. You just keep on pushing, you try and come up with something else that still brings the same message. And
You also play little games with employers, like you suggest something patently absurd, edgy, and over the top.
yeah,
I'm going to throw one out here right now, okay? I had a plan at one point. I work in athletics also, and I wanted to have somebody jump a skateboard. This would have involved 2 ramps and a crash pit, but hear me out. You know the BC logo on the football stadium?
Yes.
At the far end?
Yeah.
I wanted somebody to ollie off the top deck over the BC logo, land on another ramp under the BC logo, and then ollie again into a crash pit on the track. For this huge, have fireworks and explosions go off, 70s Evel Knievel style, and they were like, dude, this will never be insured ever. I was like, what if we do it on a bike? And they were like, are you insane? And then bringing up something a little more, moderate later on, they're like, well, that sounds reasonable. But if I would have started with the moderate, they would have been like, no, we're saying no to this too. So, yes, when you're a creative person, there are things that you have to do. But Eric, listen, we're laughing right now about the work we do.
yeah.
And that's kind of what it's all about. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to you about what your day-to-day life as a professional artist is about on Success and Equity on BCTV.